Hello, everybody. This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. This is Clutch with Keon Rose. I'm Keon Rose, and we have yet another sunny day in Chattanooga, Tennessee, after a week filled with basically rain and dreadfulness and sadness. We have the sun outside. So if you have the opportunity today, I highly recommend you take a walk. Go treat yourself. Do something nice. Go get an ice cream somewhere. And while you're doing that, make sure you listen to us on Hot News Talk Radio on your phone, whether you have an Android or Apple device. You can get the TuneIn Radio app from the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. Search Hot News Talk Radio. Give us a follow and press play. You'll have Hot News Talk Radio everywhere you go. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. You search Hot News Talk Radio. We are the first thing that comes up, and we do interact with you. The Facebook page, very active. The Twitter page, very, very active. You cannot say that we don't want to hear from you. All of those avenues and more. And we're going to be working in the future to get more guests on this show, to get more content that you care about, so that it's not just me standing in here for 45 minutes to an hour endlessly gas bagging about leadership in sports. It's fun, but let's get some more of what you want. So I'll be working on that this week. That is my project for this week, is making sure that there's content out there for you. But because I don't have any of my guests lined up yet, and I don't have any of the things that I want lined up yet, it's going to be me endlessly gas bagging about something or another. And it's today it's the NFL. I mean, it's always the NFL, because they are a giant money-making, money-gobbling machine that all they seem to do is to exist to take money, cause head trauma, and make us feel guilty about enjoying watching head trauma. That's the NFL right now to me. That people are getting injured, they may or may not be dying. The NFL is making money off of it, and I am supporting them with my money and my time, and I feel somewhat guilty about it, but not guilty enough to stop watching, because dang it, the Redskins still have a chance. So here we are. All of the unethical things that you hear about and see happening with college football, in a lot of ways can be tied to the NFL and its practices and how it uses the college ranks as their free minor league system that they don't have to set up or pay for in any way. So the college programs try to stay amateur, of course, because that's how you make your money. You separate yourself from the NFL, and it works for both parties. And it's unethical. It's unethical, and it ought to make you, if you have a heart and you have a soul, it ought to make you feel a little bad inside. Just a little bit. And so the NFL, of course, in their next money-gobbling move, they've gone after the Twitter page of the website Deadspin. And if you don't know what Deadspin is an amazing site. Deadspin is one of my favorite sports sites. It's hilarious. Don't read it at work. It's somewhat inappropriate also, but it's a funny site. It's basically all of the things about sports that we like, but then it's turned on its head. It's very sarcastic, and that's their shtick with all of that. But they have NFL gifs. I think the creator of the GIF said that it's pronounced GIF. But you know what? You don't own the internet, buddy. I pronounce it how I want. It's a gift to me. So the Deadspin, their Twitter page, would post these GIFs of NFL plays. And the NFL had that taken down. They had Deadspin take down their GIFs, and Twitter removed Deadspin's page for a while, just flat out removed them from Twitter, erased like they were never there. And what the NFL is saying is that that's copyright infringement, which of course the NFL would say, because they're the NFL, and here's you using their content and they're not making money off of it. God forbid that they don't make money off of something else after they roll around in their billions. They got Deadspin's page taken down for that, for copyright infringement. Only, is it? You can use certain images under fair use. And one of those fair use clauses, basically, that says that you can use images, use copyrighted content. One of those clauses is a journalistic clause that if you're showing something for education and you're showing something for analysis, that's not copyright infringement. And Deadspin, a website that reports sports news, using these GIFs to analyze and break down NFL plays, well, by God, that does fall under education and analysis. So the NFL actually didn't have the right to do what they did, and neither did Twitter. So why did Twitter take everything down? Why would Twitter listen to the NFL? Oh, they just have a fantastically large and overwhelmingly hard to ignore conflict of interest. They have a deal with the NFL so that the NFL is able to more easily show you football highlights on Twitter. And it's Twitter is both working with and for the NFL and policing their copyright information for them. It's actually ironic, really, when you consider that's how Roger Goodell's relationship is with the players. The Roger Goodell shouldn't be making any kind of ruling on players when you think about it. He works for the owners. He represents the NFL. He shouldn't be able to suspend anybody. He's the commissioner, not the head of the players' union. He doesn't consult the players' union when he makes these suspensions. He's got his arbitrary thing that, his checklist of this is the things that makes a bad deed, and this bad deed has this bad punishment that I will dole out because I'm Roger Goodell. And there's not a whole lot of recourse there. The person who is least qualified to be making those decisions is the person with the most power to make those decisions. That's Roger Goodell. And you see it in this case, ironically, with the NFL and Twitter and Deadspin, that Twitter, because of their relationship with the NFL, is the party least qualified to decide what is and isn't copyright infringement, since they directly benefit from everything being copyright infringement that doesn't come from the NFL. They profit off of it entirely. So it's not illegal, but it is the most unethical way that could ever have been handled. Why? And they're not the only ones. SB Nation puts GIFs on Twitter. A lot of people who use Reddit will put those GIFs on. So in a lot of ways, we've got a caller here. Caller, you are on the air.
I agree with you total with this Twitter thing and NFL, and it goes back to what I heard earlier on your radio station. It's the root of all evil, and that root of all evil is Pokemon. And if you'll play what they're talking about, you'll see Pokemon is ruining this country. It's going to ruin football. Next thing you know, the Tennessee Vols will be losing, and Alabama won't have a team. Thank you. I'll hang up and listen to you.
Thank you for that. That there is just great analysis. That's fantastic analysis there. The root of all evil is not money like we thought it was, which runs the NFL. No, the root of all evil is Pokemon. Got it. You know what? That's going to start your day weird, okay? When you've got people calling in to your show to talk Pokemon. Look, I don't have a fantasy Pokemon roster. I'm not starting Pikachu at quarterback, and I'm not starting Rhyhorn, at defensive tackle. And just if we're not doing this, we don't have to go there. This doesn't have to be this way. Okay. If you've heard the Pokemon thing before, then you've been listening to this station for a while, and I thank you for fighting through the weirdness that we put you through. This is Clutch with Keon Rose on AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. And the NFL pretty much just exists to make money. And I wonder how long it's going to last. Like at this point, does it look like we're trying to grab the money while we can? Are we just trying to grab what we can and then leave? Is that what it is? Because let me tell you something. The NFL can't last forever the way that it is, the way that we have head trauma and head injuries as a thing moving forward closer and closer into the forefront. We can't continue to exist at this pace. And the NFL is always growing, always sucking up money, always expanding. But you know what? I don't understand how and why it's one of the more bizarre things that I see, how or why we seem to believe the NFL will never go away. Like baseball was once the most popular sport in this country. It was. And it faded. I mean, it's still here, which speaks to the longevity of the sport, the way that international players have taken up to it and have been very successful playing it, especially the Latin American countries and the Japanese. And even the Koreans, to an extent, have taken up baseball and have become very good at the game that was once an all-American game. And maybe the NFL can get there too, but they've got a lot of things to overcome to be worrying about Deadspin on Twitter and whether or not they're using NFL-related gifts. Like the NFL is not losing any money off of that. You know what I mean? Like they're not. It's now no sweat off their back. It's free promotion, free publicity for them, but you've got to be in control of everything. You can't have the perception that people can make money off of you if you're the NFL, even though that is precisely what you do to other people. It's very hypocritical. I mean, it's entirely hypocritical, and it's depressing. Okay, like I don't like the NFL very much. I don't know if that's a theme that you've picked up. I like football a lot, which is why I continue to watch the NFL. And, you know, like for me, like you could tell me, okay, well, all right, Keon, if you don't like it so much, why don't you just shut up then? Why don't you just go away? If you don't like it, don't watch it. Well, I like football. I just don't like the NFL. And I don't think that my not watching is going to fix anything at all. Okay, like me not watching football is not going to fix anything. One person not watching with the billions that the NFL has made, and also like the at least hundreds of dollars that they've made off of me, because I've got jerseys and I've got hats and I've got all of this stuff. I mean, they've already made the money off of me. I can't take it back. And I enjoy football quite a bit. I like the players in the league. I just don't like how the league handles itself. It's a business, but it's not about the customer. It's not about what's right or what the customer enjoys at all. It's about what makes the league more money. If the NFL were really serious about domestic violence or player safety, or all of the things that the public has been concerning with increasing velocity over the last few years, then they would really do stuff about these things instead of just, okay, let's put out penalties for domestic abuse. Oh, that's not a long enough penalty? Let's just make something up and just change it on the fly. Let's suspend Greg Hardy longer because 4 games isn't enough. People don't like how short that suspension was. Let's just add more games to it, which is the reason why Greg Hardy is no longer suspended, because of course you can't do that. You can't just make up arbitrary rules and punishments as you go. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't hold any water. And Now you had a guy that should have been punished properly in the first place going entirely unpunished. He missed half a season when he should have missed a whole one. And you heard Greg Hardy talking about it, and he doesn't seem apologetic, and he doesn't seem like he cares. And the league doesn't either. They're just pretending to care because we care. Hey, who is this? Who do they think we are, really? A bunch of Pokemon trainers? This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio Clutch with Keon Rose. We'll be back.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Fox News Talk 1240.
It's Rick Davis Golden Diamonds half-off remounting party going on right now. Rick Davis Golden Diamonds half-off remounting party is an affordable way to revitalize your jewelry. Don't miss the party going on today at Rick Davis half-off remounting party. Give your diamond ring a fresh new look or a new design, as Rick's Golden Diamonds will fix it quickly, or maybe even while you wait. Rick Davis Golden Diamonds, 40 years of service, 5301 Brainerd Road, 5301 Brainerd Road. Call 580-2587, 580-2587 for Rick Davis Golden Diamonds, an affordable way to revitalize your jewelry. The half-off party's going on today, so don't miss it at Rick Davis Golden Diamonds. Rick Davis Golden Diamonds, 5301 Brainerd Road. Call 580-2587. Rick Davis Golden Diamonds.
Tired of insurance companies? Tired of doctors that won't spend time with you? Do something different. Leave the sick care model of medicine and come to Dr. Danielle Mitchell, the Chattanooga Sports Institute and Center for Health, where we're interested in long-term health solutions, not the quick fixes. Come see me, Dr. Danielle Mitchell, at the Chattanooga Sports Institute and Center for Health. I'm all about the long-term healthcare solutions and doing what's best. On the web, you can find me at ChattanoogaSportsInstitute.com. That's ChattanoogaSportsInstitute.com. Or call us at 875-1005, 875-1005, or find us on social media, Facebook, Dr. Danielle Mitchell, or the ChattanoogaSportsInstitute.com. Let's go, ya!
Are you tired of working in corporate America, or have you recently lost your job and would like to consider owning your own business? If you are, please call me, as I can help you look at franchises or business opportunities that fit you, the economy that we're in, and the type of businesses that are right in the greater Chattanooga area. After I help my clients find the right opportunity, I also help them find the best way to finance the business, including paying yourself through the startup phase. If you would like to learn more about opportunities that may be right for you, please call me for a free assessment. My name is Bruce Krebs at the Entrepreneur Source. Phone number is 423-875-5621.
That smells so good. Smells like a big Italian dinner. But you're going to walk out with two. Buy one hot pizza, get one for free. 2 pizzas. You got the 2 for the price of 1 at Raphael's Italian Restaurant and Pizzeria. My favorite Italian restaurant of all the time. Now, I'm living in Hicks, and I go to Raphael's right down the street in Hicks and Pike, right near Highland Plaza. You're in Saudy Daisy? At Raphael's Italian Restaurant and Pizzeria in Saudy Daisy. Just next to Saudy Daisy Church of God. Hey, you're in Signal Mountain, there's a Raphael's Italian Restaurant and a Pizzeria. It's right. The pasta, the pizza. Buy one hot pizza, get one for free. 2 pizzas. You got the 2 for the price of 1 at Raphael's Italian Restaurant and Pizzeria. Tastes so good. Bring the whole family. Come on, Raphael's Italian Restaurant and Pizzeria. Mangia. Salute.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Costa, host of the Costa Report, every Sunday at 9 a.m. Did you know that a quarter of the world's population will experience mental illness? My guest this week is former Congressman Patrick Kennedy, who says the United Nations must make mental illness a priority. Find out why this Sunday at 9 a.m. on the Costa Report, right here on AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
This is a sports show. This is a sports show, so I want to know what the deal is with the Pokemon here. I'm confused. And I don't know if I missed something. Because you know how the internet is. Things just go viral. And if you were under a rock for like a day, you missed it. You missed it. I don't know if any of you remember the whole Chuck Testa thing. I was at work for just like basically 2 days straight, came back to my computer, and like Chuck Testa was a meme that became huge. And it wasn't funny to me. And I guess it was just because I wasn't there at the beginning. So I missed it. I think that's what it was. But I don't understand it. I don't understand it. The Pokemon thing is taken off. We've had mentions of it yesterday. We did a debate here at the station. It was incredibly fun. Incredibly fun. And I enjoyed yelling at the top of my lungs about police brutality. And also apparently I'm racist. But the point here is the Pokemon thing just has been rolling. And Mr. Judd, I'm sure mentioned it this morning, because how could he not? He's Mr. Judd. He can't help himself at all. Any time to specialize in the ridiculous, that's where he goes. That's where he goes. He can't help it. It's not a sickness, but it's a way of life. It's his way of life. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how to hold it back. He's just like, oh, look, something silly. Let's go in there. Let's talk about this. And then I get a caller talking to me about Pokemon. And now Twitter follower writes in, I completely agree with the caller. Pokemon is going to ruin this great republic. How? How on earth is this going to ruin this republic, or, and I could argue this very well, any other republic? In what way? Okay, I have things that I was prepared to talk about today, and I'm upset because now I'm here talking about Pokemon and not the NFL being a giant, greedy, money-gobbling, copyright infringement accusing organization. Instead, now I stand here talking to you about Bulbasaurs. Okay, I don't want this for my life. I have never wanted this for my life. When I thought to myself as a young lad that I wanted to be a sports talk radio host, I never once, and I mean this as a young child who played Pokemon at the time that I was playing Pokemon, never once envisioned that I would be talking about it here on this station. Okay, this is proof here that I need to get some guests here, some form of sanity or reason in this building. Oh boy. Twitter follower, same one, writes in, did you see what Pokemon did to the Soviet Union and Somalia? Nothing. None of those nations had Pokemon. They did not have pocket monsters. The TV show, the card game, the video game, none of it. What on earth is happening? Why are we talking about this? I'm going to lose my head. I'm going to lose it. And I blame Mr. Judd. He started this. Okay. He started the fire. And now I can't make it go away. Got people tweeting me and calling me about Pokemon. Why don't you tweet me and call me about Auburn? Tweet me or call me about Georgia. I don't talk about Pokemon. Okay, I don't want to talk about your level 72 Raichu. This is not that show. This is supposed to be a sports show on AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio. Clutch with Keon Rose. And this is literally the least clutch thing in the history of sports broadcasting. That's what this is. That's what this is. And I was on Twitter because I was just trying to see what's happened. You know, what's been going around in the sports world during the break. And then I see that and it ruins my day. I haven't had to talk about anything that bad since yesterday, I guess, since I had to talk about Steve Sarkisian and what he's going through, which is that he was fired from USC. It just comes up again and again and again, this issue of players and coaches and people who are in these positions where they end up with substance abuse. Lamar Odom is probably now the latest one in that line of people, in a story that you want to pile on and say, look, this is what Lamar Odom's gotten into. Lamar Odom is fighting for his life after he was found overdosed at a brothel in Las Vegas. And two of the brothel workers, let's say, found Lamar Odom unconscious, and he was rushed to the hospital. Few things here. Lamar Odom is a very large man. He plays in the NBA. Of course he is. He couldn't fit in the helicopter. So they had to drive him to the hospital. He didn't arrive nearly as quickly. And, you know, he's fighting for his life. He's had the substance abuse thing before when he was married to Khloe Kardashian. She had him go to rehab, and he checked himself back out. And so Lamar Odom has been kind of this, he's been this enigmatic player his whole career. He's a guy that he's talented. I think everyone knew that Lamar Odom was talented, but he couldn't ever reach his full potential because he wouldn't, I don't know. I have no idea why he couldn't reach his full potential, but you'd see flashes of brilliance from Lamar Odom and go, this guy could be way better than he is. He's a role player on a team. He could be at least an all-star. And the people that know Lamar Odom speak very highly of him, that he's a nice guy, that he's a great person. He just had problems with different substances. Sorry. And here's the thing. They said, oh, he overdosed on some aphrodisiac type medication, that, which makes sense because he's in a brothel. And then they did the drug test on Lamar Odom, and as it turns out, Lamar Odom every drug was in his system, apparently, all of them. And that's scary. That's very scary. Okay, I don't know what to tell you about that. And the fact that he's now fighting for his life means that he needed help. He needed help way before this, and he didn't get it. And there were reports and stories after that Lakers team that won the title that had Lamar Odom on it broke up, that Lamar was very heartbroken. And that was like a family to him. He grew up with a rough life. And you see this a lot, that guys start to see their teammates as a family. But sports aren't about that at the professional level. It's about winning and is therefore ultimately a business. And when players get too attached to other players, when coaches get attached to players, when players get attached to coaches, GMs get attached to coaches and players, etc., what ends up happening is that you've got players who they're attached and then they get traded or they get released or they can't play anymore, or their friends get traded or released, or their coach gets fired, and they fall apart. Not because they're weak-minded or they're weak-willed, but because they're human beings, and human beings, through interactions, just get attached to each other. So you start to see a bunch of guys in a locker room as your brothers, and then all of your brothers get traded away, or you get traded away from all of them. It breaks you. Especially if you have trouble getting those relationships back on another team or with some other people. And winning intensifies that feeling a lot. And that's what Lamar Odom went through. And that's part of the reason why he is where he is. He couldn't cope with not being around a group of people he considered to be his family, and he turned to substances to replace that. You saw the same thing happen with Dennis Rodman back in the 90s. He was with the Pistons, the Bad Boys. They win the back-to-back titles in 88 and 89, and then that whole team falls apart. Isaiah retires, Lambeer retires afterwards, and the team just fell to pieces. And Rodman, who had seen all of those guys, Thomas and Lambeer and Sally and Dumars, as his brothers, they're gone. And that's when Dennis Rodman became the Dennis Rodman that we know. Once upon a time, that guy was quiet, and his hair was normal colored, and he didn't have a million rings in his face. There was a time, and that time came and went when his family broke up. Dennis Rodman grew up with no actual family feeling in his life. His actual family didn't really exist. His mother was abusive to him. His mother dated abusive men, and he didn't grow up having a family. He found one in the NBA. And then, because the NBA is a business, as much as we like to talk about the camaraderie and the human spirit and all of those things in sports, it's a business. Okay, the money is exchanged for you to win, which makes more money, ideally. So Dennis Rodman lost all of that, went to San Antonio with the Spurs, did not fit in, especially since David Robinson was like, you need to be a Christian, you need to be saved. And he was so forceful about it, and Dennis Rodman had such a harsh reaction to that they never fit together. It never worked, and he was never at home and never with family in San Antonio, and wouldn't find one again until he was with the Bulls. But by that point, Dennis was Dennis. Dennis was the guy who partied all the time. This is Dennis who married himself. Dennis Rodman married himself. So there's that. And, what do you do? What do you do? What do you tell these guys? Don't get attached? I mean, how do you tell someone if that's their personality and if that's what they've needed in their life and they finally found it? How do you tell them don't get attached? You shouldn't. It's a business. But you can't help it. You're a human being around other human beings. And sometimes you like them, and sometimes they like you. And then you move away. That camaraderie doesn't just up and vanish. This is AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. And we're talking about Lamar Odom and that tragic story about how he's in the hospital now. And it could have been a goofy anecdote. That's the thing about this story. Lamar Odom lives. This is a goofy anecdote along with him being in the Kardashian family and all of those things. If he dies, this is serious. That brothel is getting investigated, because how does a guy of Lamar Odom's size end up overdosing on all the drugs in your place and nobody knows? Where did he get those drugs? Did he bring them all with him? It's not likely. It's not likely. I don't remember the name of the brothel. It's got a silly name. The two women that found him, they've got silly brothel worker names. I'm not trying to make light of the story, so I'm not going to go into all of that. But it could have been, this is where he got caught doing this, and now it's a sad story, because when you look at all the pieces that came before this and how Lamar Odom wanted a family, found it, and then lost it, well, it's a more tragic story. It is. And I don't know what we do in the world of sports. I know that there are people who are hired to do that, but I don't know if it's enough when it comes to working with athletes mentally to cope with things that normal people who do not play athletics for a living, have to cope with. You have to cope with injuries. You have to cope with your body hurting all the time. You have to cope with the fact that you're constantly away from your family. You have to cope with if you're a baseball player, basketball player, tight schedules where you're playing every other night or so, and you also have to cope with the fact that you don't sleep or operate like a normal person. This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. Clutch with Keon Rose. Sports show, not a Pokemon show. I'm Keon Rose, and we'll talk a little bit more about Lamar Odom right after this.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Are you tired of feeling like just another account number to your financial advisor? Try something refreshingly different. Call Edward Jones Financial Advisor Patrick Neal in Hickson at 870-7894. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
We've got a table here at Delia's in Saudi Daisy, ready to delight in a plate of authentic Mexican food. Delia's spreads a rich selection: loaded nachos, crazy chicken, homemade tamales, maybe the enchiladas with beef, chicken, pork, quesadillas. Every dish beautifully pictured on the menu to help us decide. Join us for lunch or dinner. We're at Delia's in Saudi Daisy on Dayton Pike near the Thrasher Light. Here's dinner. Delia's uses the freshest ingredients, cooked to perfection. Nachos, homemade. Delia's open every day except the Lord's Day. For lunch and dinner, treat yourself to Delia's genuine Mexican food. In Saudi, call 521-7145. That's 521-7145.
Social media, we're on that. Hot News Talk Radio on Facebook, at Hot News Talk Radio on Twitter. Download the TuneIn app and follow us anywhere at any time. AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
There is no way on earth that there aren't people who aren't aware of breast cancer. There isn't. And I'm on my Twitter feed, and I've got all the NFL teams scrolling up. Okay. And they've all got the pink ribbon for breast cancer awareness. Every single one of them behind the team logo as their icon on the page. And we do this every year. And I'm curious. I legitimately want to know, is there anybody out there who is not aware of breast cancer? Because I am very aware. And I have been made aware increasingly for like the last 10 years of my life. Yes, breast cancer. It's bad. Nobody likes breast cancer. Everybody likes breasts. Got it. Good. Yep. We're good. We're good. The NFL does not need pink every October. They do not. Who out there is not aware of breast cancer? And can we, I don't know, put money towards another cause of some kind, of any kind? Just a cause out there that people are actually not aware about, to raise awareness for the fact that there are a lot of starving children in this world. And I'm not even talking about Africa. I'm talking about America. We have a lot of starving American children. Nope, because that's not glamorous. Because nobody likes to talk about starving children. That's actually sad. Breast cancer awareness, if it works, means breasts, which is, there's nothing sad about that at all. So we just kind of go with the thing that's more fun to talk about. Let's talk about that. And then we don't address any of the other issues going on in this world. We could raise awareness for, and I know that this is going to be a shocker for the NFL, we could raise awareness for domestic abuse. We could actually talk about things that women have recourse for if they're in those relationships. We could actually use this as a platform to tell men not to do that. But nope, we'd rather wear pink every October. Sure. Helpful. Because there's nobody out there that didn't know. Like your your base of viewers is overwhelmingly American. We have so many American problems. We have mental health issues. We have people going into schools and shooting them up, and we don't know why. It's becoming an epidemic, and we've got nothing. We're going to wear pink every October. And then you got a guy like Brandon Marshall. Remember a few years back when he wore green and the league fined him? Because he was trying to raise awareness for mental health, which is, there's so many different forms of mental illnesses that in order to raise awareness for that, I mean, you could do that every year and never run out of something to raise awareness for. Like, okay, mental health awareness. This year, we're going to talk about schizophrenia because we don't actually know what that is sometimes. Do we just, oh, yeah, she's crazy. She's schizophrenic. You just throw that out there like that, like that's what that means. Yeah, sometimes she wants fries. Sometimes she wants Cheetos. She's so schizophrenic. No, that's not what that means. We have these words that represent mental illnesses and we don't know what they mean, but we would rather wear pink. No. We've got CeCe Sabathia struggling with alcoholism. Lamar Odom overdosing in a brothel. We're not interested in raising awareness for what causes these kinds of breakdowns and behaviors, especially in athletes. We just want to make people aware of breast cancer, even though everyone is aware of breast cancer. And don't get me wrong, because that is a good cause. Raising money to solve the problem that is breast cancer and any cancer is a good cause. Everyone is anti-cancer, okay? I am anti-cancer. You're anti-cancer. We're all anti-cancer. But we have to reach a point where we just go, this is the maximum amount of awareness you can raise for this thing. No more awareness can be raised here. This we have reached peak capacity. Like 90% of the population is going to know what this is, and there are no more people who will know what this is. Let's revisit it in 5 years, but like, let's raise awareness for something else. But you know what? It's about the money. Like the NFL does not care. And I mean, you've heard a lot of the stories too about the Sandra Komen Foundation and how they've taken money from the breast cancer research and awareness, and they've pocketed it for themselves. Like nobody in this relationship about breast cancer awareness seems to actually care about breast cancer. And if that's the case, I don't want to see pink on anybody. The NFL doesn't care. I don't want to see anybody wearing pink. I think that if somebody wants to wear pink in December because they actually care, okay, and there are people who have lost loved ones to breast cancer. My condolences to you. And those who are struggling with breast cancer, going through that, continue to fight the good fight. But this is not about you. This is about the NFL and its money. It always has been and seemingly always will be. The NFL can't help itself. The NFL cannot help itself. There's an opportunity to make money. We can sell pink jerseys. We can sell pink hats. We can sell pink gloves. And like fools, we go out and buy them. And we just keep putting money into a giant billion-dollar piggy bank where the money from the piggy doesn't come back to us. It just goes to all the owners of these teams. Robert Kraft and Dan Snyder and Jerry Jones and John Mara and all of them. And Shad Khan and all of those people who already have billions of dollars, by the way. Because, of course, you got to be a billionaire to buy a team in the first place. You don't just, team goes up for sale. You or I are not pitching in for that one at all. We're not going to kick that one in the bucket there. So I see the breast cancer awareness things, and it makes my stomach turn a little bit. And it shouldn't do that. It shouldn't make me feel bad. Not in that way. Feel bad for people with breast cancer, want to help those with people with breast cancer. Yeah, it should make me want to do that. It doesn't. First off, because I feel like I'm a decent enough person to want to do that already. I'm aware of breast cancer, and I'm still aware of breast cancer. I don't know. There's not enough of the proceeds from those jerseys going to breast cancer awareness. The league is pocketing a nice, huge sum, and they'll do it again with the military later. They'll have the camo stuff that you can wear, the camo jerseys. Like, I want a camo Bears jersey. What? No. Why? Why on earth? And yes, if it sounds like I don't support the troops, that's not true. I very much do support the troops. What I don't support is people making money off of the troops, that the troops aren't ever going to see that money. Okay? The NFL is going to take all of that money and just go, thanks. But compassion sells. And that's what you need to realize about a lot of these massive businesses. They will prey on your compassion. Compassion sells. When you feel, well, because here's the thing. You see somebody coming to take your money. Sure, they're not stealing it from you. They'll come up to you and ask. Your first choice is, your first instinct is to protect your money. You just keep it all into yourself. Okay, I also do sales at the station here. I go out and I try and sell ads for the air. I think that this is a good product. I'd like to sell it to you. You are a business you're just a few ad spots away from booming. So I have a good product, right? Like, I go out and I try and sell this. And you still have to sit down and you still have to talk to people and you still have to convince them that this is worth their while. I believe it's worth their while, but you still have to convince people because you're coming and you're asking them for money. You just are. Like, you can try and sugarcoat it any other way that you want to, but you're asking them for their money. Even if the product is good, parting with your money, the thing that you worked for, is not your first instinct. But if you soften people up a little bit, part of your money is going to support the troops. Part of your money is going to support breast cancer awareness. All of a sudden, people will part with that money just a little bit more easily. All right, that's basically how that goes. People part with that just a little bit more easily. I was at Waffle House recently, and I was looking at the Heinz ketchup bottle, and they were talking about how they support the troops on the bottle. Like, why do I need that from my ketchup bottle? It's like, if Heinz supported the troops and didn't bother to tell me, the troops would still be supported. So what good is it that they told me? Well, they tell me because they go, what they want me to do, what they want my reaction to be is, oh yeah, Heinz, they support the troops. I'll support Heinz. And I do it. I do it unconsciously and without thinking. I buy Heinz ketchup. They're in front as far as the ketchup industry goes. I mean, I can't think of any other Hunt's ketchup, which, you know, and then the other one, it starts with an M. I don't remember what it's called. They're in front. This is how they stay in front. They take your compassion and they prey on it. NFL does the same thing. You know, I like the way the NBA does it better. The NBA they do their NBA Cares thing. It's a little corny, but you see the players going out and building a playground for children at a school or feeding the hungry. And I like that better because at least it's saying, here is us caring about like a multitude of things, not just the thing that'll make us the most money. It's not just us wearing pink. We're actually going out and doing a thing which makes us look like we care. Even if they don't actually care, the effort to make it look like you do goes much further than people think. Much, much further. Just by being out there, the NFL is not out there in any way. And there are guys in the league that do great things. Cam Newton is one such guy. Cam Newton is doing amazing things with regards to helping children and helping children realize their dreams, helping children get to school. Cam Newton's doing amazing things, but that's just Cam. The NFL is not going to, I'm not going to give the NFL credit for what Cam is out there doing. Brandon Marshall is doing a lot of things. I'm Peyton Manning. I'm not going to give the NFL credit for what individuals choose to do. Because I don't see from the NFL the same caring. Okay, it's not something that you can just slap on a jersey and have us buy. You can't buy real compassion. And that's what the NFL is trying to do. They're trying to buy the appearance of compassion by preying on yours. They use your compassion to finance their pretending to be compassionate. It's bizarre, it's trippy, it's weird, and it's entirely about the money. Which again, if you've listened to the station before, that's not how this ought to work. David Tulis talks about this all the time, about the compassionate way to be a capitalist. There is a way, and not everybody does it, but there is a way. Care about your customer. Actually care about your customer. Not your customer's money, them, the person. Care about that person. If you can do that, then you've got people for life. You'll have customers for life. And you won't have people like me literally talking for an hour about how greedy you are. The NFL is so greedy. I have a whole other hour I could talk about how greedy they are. And that shouldn't be the case. You know, and I was able to open up the Twitter line today. Sure, unfortunately, we talked about Pokemon, but if you tweet at SportsCloud and at Hot News Talk Radio, anything else, we will interact with you. We'll also interact with you on Facebook. Just search Hot News Talk Radio. This is AM 1240, Clutch with Keon Rose. I will see you all in 23 hours.
Compass Media Network's coverage of the NFL. Hi, this is Jerry Recco. Join Kevin Ray, Danny White, and myself for all the action.
Hot News Talk 1240.
If it's the